was born and raised in Fort Smith, Arkansas. Not a very big town, little town. Everybody know everybody. You know, played a lot of sports. We had a boys club down the street, so we spent a lot of time in the boys club. We boxed, we played ping pong, basketball, mostly basketball. We played a lot of basketball. I love basketball. I played a little football back in those days when I was younger, pretty fast, whatever. In 1965, my grandmother had got really, really sick, so they sent me to California to live with my dad. When I say send me, I rode a train by myself. I don't know. I didn't know you could do kids like that all by myself. But somebody was watching me the whole time, making sure I make the right connections and stuff like that. But when I got to California and he picked me up, I'm looking up in the air and seeing that black puffs of smoke. I said, "Dad, what's going on here?" He said, "They riding out here." But we was right in the middle of it. My dad lived on 27th and Maple. That's close to downtown. So the National Guards had built a line of defense to keep you from getting downtown. Actually, I used to hear my uncle and them say, "Oh, they don't care nothing about us tearing up our neighborhood, but you ain't getting downtown." You know, went to 28th Street Elementary, had a lot of friends. Most of my athletic career was at 28th Street YMCA. That's where everybody hung out, learned how to swim, again, play all the sports that everybody played. Met a lot of good friends. I'm still friends with them today. Then after 28th Street Elementary, I went to John Adams Junior High School. I did pretty well there. I was an athlete. I was one of the fastest kids at the school at that time. We had a lot of really good athletes at John Adams. And from John Adams Junior High School, I went to Thomas Jefferson High School. The whole 4 years I went there, the basketball coach was my homeroom teacher. He was a legendary coach, Larry Hansen. He kind of gave me a nod on that I probably would be a good coach. The reason I joined the military so early in my life, I did have an opportunity to go to Lane University. My cousin was the football coach there at that particular time. Sent all the paperwork to me, but it was a lot of paperwork. And I probably should have just sat down and filled it out and went on and went to college. But at that time, I was low riding. I had a '63 Chevy and low riding around, and it was time for a brother to go get his own. And my dad was sweating me, you know, by being at the house. You know how it is, you know, you live in my house, you do what I say, when I say, all that. And he used to tell me this thing about, hey, you can be like Columbus, go get you a little boat. Go get you a little boat and discover America. So I took him up on that one day. But it wasn't so much with my dad. My mom, one day, she was just kind of like in her little world. And I rushed in there on her and had this paper. I said, "Mom, sign this paper." "Boy, you need to leave me alone. Leave me alone." I said, "Mom, just sign the paper." She didn't even read it. She signed it. And that's all I needed at 17 was a signature from your parent. And I joined the military. I was actually gone 2 weeks. You know, she probably thought I was at my dad's house, and because it was two different households. And I told her, "Mom, I'm in Fort Ord, California. You better come home." I said, "Mom, I'm in the Army." "You in the what?" I said, "Yeah, I'm in the Army." And she was really upset. And then until I told her this, I said, "Mom, they got a thing called the E-allotment. You gonna get half of my pay." "Oh, you just stay there as long as you can." You know, so it was cool. It was a good situation. She spent all my little money, but I saved some money, you know, myself. But at that time, we weren't doing that well, and so it was kind of like I didn't mind helping her. You know? So it was more or less for to get some independence and for me to find out who I am. After going to the military, I decided that I needed some education. Plus, the military would pay you to go to school. You get a check. So I found out that junior college was only $6 registration. And I lived down the street from Trey Tech. I could walk. I walked to college for 2 years. I had played tennis from the 10th grade all the way to the senior in high school. I was the #1 varsity player my 11th and 12th grade year at Jefferson High School. 10th grade year, I played varsity doubles. So Pete Brown, legendary coach at Trey Tech, Pete Brown knew that I played tennis, and but I love basketball. He would come in the gym, just be looking at me, and so his ploy was to get me out on the tennis court. I need you to be a TA in my class. Okay, that was a good thing. You know, all the girls was in the tennis class. I'm a young man, I wasn't married.
I took tennis at Trey Tech, and I was the only lefty in the class, and he was one of the teacher assistants, he and another gentleman, and they would come and assist us, and he would assist because he was a lefty. So at that time, though, I didn't like him like that. I didn't like him at all. I thought he was kind of arrogant, you know. But yeah, he was just a Mr. Sports guy, know-it-all.
Had problems with her stroke. She was left-handed like me, you know, and really to teach tennis and show what you got to do, you kind of got to stand behind them, help her hold the racket. So I'm getting a chance to touch her. You know, innocent, but I get a chance to touch her and teach her the forehand and teach her the backhand.
At the end of class, I stayed behind just to watch because they started playing doubles, and he was really good at it. I said, wow, I guess he does know tennis. I just thought he was just being pompous, but he really knew tennis.
I also sung in the choir at the school, and she came to this little program we had. I don't think she knew I was watching her like that. I don't know if she was watching me or not, but I was watching her.
Then I saw him in this concert where he was singing, and I became one of his groupies, and then I wrote him this letter, and my cousin delivered it to him.
Actually, her cousin came to me with a note and said that his cousin was kind of liking me or whatever. So it was cool, whatever.
We dated 4 months, and then we were married. So it was quick. He was old. He's 7 years older than I am. So he was 25. I was 18. I graduated high school a year early. So I was in college early, and I met him, like I said, and just went from 0 to 60. And next thing you know, we were married.
I only knew her for like 4 months, man, and then I don't think her parents were particularly pleased with her decision of getting married. So at that point, once that issue came up, she offered to stay with me, that she would just go ahead and move in with me. And out of respect, after talking, my dad wasn't no joke. My dad said, you can't do that. You gotta marry her. So I married her in 4 months, and 45 years later, I'm still with her. You know, it's been some rough times. Anybody to say there haven't been rough times with a marriage is telling a lie. You know what I mean? There's some ups and downs, some gives and some takes. You know, we both been through all those stages.
He was very athletic, like I told you. So it wasn't a day that he didn't go out and jog or go on a bike or put on roller skates, and I mean go far too. He just wasn't going around the corner. To me, there was a little bit of age gap because he was 25 and I was 18. So when I go meet his friends were way older, you know, to me, even than him. Sometime they were like 30, you know, 35, and here I'm 18 and 19. So that was interesting. They like different music than I, and the conversation was different, but at that point I realized I don't have to like everything he likes or do everything he does or have friends, you know. So that was different as far as being married so young. And then I had children, you know, every couple of years. I was a mother in training. I say in training because as I was having them, I was also learning about them. I'm not a fighter. I'm docile to the point where he was my pit bull. I call him my pit bull still to this day. But he was always ready. He was my protector more than anything. He was there. He was always ready to defend our family. And he, what you call a lion, a real lion. So that's what I most recall, is that I had this person I felt safe with wherever I went, because he was ready all the time. You know, and early on, he was taking a lot of karate, hapkido, those kind of different classes. And so I felt very secure.
My dad is a very militant and rule-oriented type of father. So, I mean, he was in the military. It definitely showed when we were kids. He was very, how can I put it, intense at times. But, you know, it had my brother and I and my sister and I, we turned out well. So, I mean, I can't complain.
What type of dad is my dad? Firm. He's a firm dad, but he's loving. He's the kind of guy, last of a dying breed, has a real passion for who he is and what he stands on. So I think all those things together makes him like the dad that you're supposed to have, the dad that's supposed to want more from you and want more out of you, that wants you to want more out of yourself. So he's a motivator, he's a pusher. You know, outside of basketball, that's the kind of dad he is. He like nurtures an environment for you to be able to be the best self that you can be.
Like, people don't really see it, but like, playful. Like, he jokes a lot. Like, that's the side that I saw a lot of, always like joking and making fun of people, but also aggressive, like very aggressive.
Where I grew up playing at Tobin Rec Center, everybody called me Lefty. Then I moved, started playing and working at Dorsey and playing outside at Rancho. It was a lot of really legends that played out there. Gus Williams used to come and play, Jerry Chambers and all them guys, and they started calling me Tiny. Tiny Archibald was the man. He led the NBA in scoring and assists. And then, you know, I kind of liked the name, so it was just Tiny. Everybody started calling me Tiny because I had a little left-hand jumper, I had some handles. Once they started calling me that, I started trying to play like it. And so the name stuck.
This is what I need for you to do. You're gonna have the ball in your left hand. You're gonna pound, wrap around, switch hands, pound, wrap around, pound, wrap around, go! Pound.
Tiny, you know, went through some physical challenges. To this day, with him having, you know, some of his toes removed at the beginning, and then to the point of now his foot being removed and leg, and he never wavered. You know, he was sitting on, you know, on a bench, you know, without his shoes, his amputee leg, and just wrapped, and he's still coaching him, I would leave out, come back an hour later, he's still drilling them. So I think the love of basketball and the love of working with kids is a mixture that you just can't recreate, and I really respect him for that. Because most people with their limbs removed, they don't want to get out there, you know. But Tiny puts his slacks on, and you wouldn't even know that he is amputee. But he doesn't ponder it. He just keeps going, and I love him for it, because what he does is unusually great, and I applaud him.